okay if you guys can find your spaces while I talk to people? Like, if you want to sit here,
I wonder if you put it on here.
smaller ones can sit up here if you like the front row.
Use your lat as a stand. You can.
That's a little
I'm good.
That might be that connector if we're not on the black one.
Somebody brought some big
Say that
snack.
again. I think we lost the image.
Uh-oh.
I think so. Can you check it again? If we're not on the black, try the black connector and not the white one. All right. I'm going to wear several hats at the same time. Thank you for coming to our 9th annual all-school concert. I think we're quiet enough I can go off mic for a second. I wanted to spend just a quick minute talking about the concert today. I wanted to tell a story of something that happened to me when I was 4 years old. And it has something to do with the title of the concert today. Today's concert is called Artistry and Genius. And it's songs by 3 women. When I was 4 years old, my parents, my dad took a job teaching in Manhattan at the Walden School. And we moved to the Bronx, and they wanted me to grow up in a diverse place, and so they enrolled me in a Montessori school in Central Harlem. It was called Central Harlem Montessori. Champ was what it was. This is 1971. And we would commute down to Harlem every day. And I went in, and the first day of school, I cried when my dad left. I remember that. Anyways, I was given these little beads, things like this. Actually, we started with things, just a bead. And I learned to count to 10. And then I was given little groups of beads, and I figured out that if you added a 3 plus a 4, you could get 7. And then one day, the teacher, after he had observed I could do these things, put this in front of me. And I don't know if you can see it. It's 1, 10. And, you know, I knew this was 10. I knew that. And he said, count how many of those things are on this. Yeah, there's 10 of those other 10s. This is 100. And I just saw it. You could just see it. And then this. And he just left me alone with this to think about that. And I could count to 10. I had that. That was pretty good. I could do it every time. And there was this moment where I got it. This was a unit with 10. This was 10 tens, and this was 10 by 10 by 10. And in that moment, I got this thing of, this is exponential mathematics. And not only that, but the dimensions of space. And it wasn't like, I didn't have words for those things, but I got those concepts. But the bigger thing that I got was that all of that stuff was one whole thing. This tray is one conceptual thing. Now, the reason I tell that story is that one of the things that I saw then was that objects themselves can teach you things. And music is the same thing. If you can get the unit of music and maybe the 10 rod of music, and you can get to where you're counting that far, you can go and sit in front of the music thing, and music itself will teach you. So that's one way to think about what you're about to see today. Now, when I first started studying guitar with my guitar teacher, who was a guy named Robert Fripp, he had me go, he called us all in one night. He said, I want you to visualize on this wall a diamond, and on the top is the word genius, and on the right side is the word artist, and on the left side is the word craftsperson, and on the bottom is a journey person. These are different types of musicians. The journey person, we don't see much in our culture, but that would be maybe the street performer, or the person who has the day job. Journey, jord, means day. If you do the same thing every day, you go, you do it. The craftsperson has craft. They have skill. The artist is a different creature. The artist starts to understand something from conscience that speaks to all people. Because conscience is the same for all humans. And so what you begin to see in artistry is that people, artists, see things that tell you something about yourself, whether you want to know it or not. Some of these songs today are a little like that. The genius lives in that world. They live there. So, while I was going to school at the Montessori school, my mother was doing things like going to the bars that didn't allow women. And she would go in there and say, I want to be served. One of the problems I've struggled with as a musician is that there aren't as many artist women in the field. And I wanted really to call attention to that, largely because we have many wonderful young women artists coming out of our school. So that's also something that's a theme for today. The last... Okay, I'm going to create a big disruption and then we're actually going to begin. Before I create the big disruption, the last thing I want to say about the show, because some people are new, is that these concerts are not really concerts at all. They are truly just a presentation of our music work. These kids take this work seriously, and over the past couple months, but really truly for some of us, over the past 8 years, they have built something up that they are presenting today. That's all it is. You will hear mistakes, you will hear strange noises, you will hear pops, you'll hear all kinds of things, but none of that's the point. This is just so you get to see our practice of putting ourselves in front of this thing which teaches us something, which is incredibly valuable. Here's the big disruption. I have up here music for the songs.
Mm.
If you need music, can you quietly, slowly, and calmly come get it? Lyrics or music? I'd rather do this now than during the show. Oh, and one last thing. If you have a little one, if they get noisy, go ahead, feel free to take them out. But bring them back. I will say that the Children's House, we did a rehearsal on Thursday. They sat here and they loved every minute of all the songs that we were doing. They made it through the whole thing. It was amazing.
That's
Oh.
nice.
Huzzah.
Yeah. I saw them.
Oh, they don't have going around. What are you looking for?
If we could have clouds come to the stage. I'm sorry.